We're doing NBA player props here on PrizePicks for Tuesday, March 28th. Before I get started, there's a link in the description below to sign up for PrizePicks, or you guys can use promo code TUFF to sign up. PrizePicks will match 100% of your first deposit. Discord link in the description, as well as Patreon link in the description below of this video, where I do post all the plays I'm making on PrizePicks for each given sport that I do play. Again, not gambling advice. This is not financial advice either. Simply just plays I'm personally looking at making. Hopefully give you guys some insight and analysis to make your own player prop decisions here. But yeah, let's not waste any time. Let's get right into it. We got Taco Tuesday. We got the Trae Young taco here going on. I do like this taco. I do think there is some value here. I think Trae Young's actually obviously hit this line in every game versus Cleveland this season. So I'm going to be playing this taco on the over, obviously. But let's get into the two plays that I do like. We have a decent sized slate today overall. I believe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games. So not an amazing slate, but not a horrible slate. I mean, those 4-game slates are super tough here. 6-game slate here. Let's not waste any time. Let's get right into it. So the first one I'm targeting here is going to be Pascal Siakam over 39.5 fantasy score against the Miami Heat. Now, Pascal has hit this in 4 of his last 5 games here. Had a game against Washington where he just did not shoot the ball well. Got off to a super slow start and still finished with 35 fantasy points here. This matchup should be close, though, in Toronto. Again, Miami just so up and down. Like, Miami's got to be one of the most frustrating teams in the NBA to be a fan of this season. I mean, this season just in particular because just of how up and down their games have been. But 3.5-point favorites for Toronto here with a 220 over under. Pascal, fantasy score game log this season. I mean, this has a pretty high hit rate. If we just even break this down to at home, I mean, Pascal Siakam at home has been playing so well as of late. Really quickly, his splits at home versus away. I mean, he averages 25.1 points at home compared to 23.3 on the road. Averages zero point 0.2 more rebounds, 0.1 less assists here. I mean, pretty much blocks and steals pretty similar, but points here averages almost 2 more points per game at home versus on the road. But his fantasy score game log at home, I mean, you look at the hit rate this season, I mean, this is extremely strong. We're taking a look here, let's just take a look like at since, the new year, or I guess since January 8th, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 of his last, it's got to be like 19 games at home. He's hit the over on this. I mean, we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we're looking at 16 of his last 25 home games. He has hit the over on this. He has faced Miami twice this season already and has cleared this easily both times, both on the road in Miami as well. 49.8 fantasy at Miami on October 24th, and then on October 22nd, he had 51.1 fantasy points at Miami as well. So back earlier in the season, he's really been in form as of late. If we just take a look here, let's take away this at home. But if we take a look here, before this miss here, where he did shoot 7 for 17 from the field, only 1 for 3 from 3-point land, and only got to the free throw line 4 times here. Besides that game, he had hit the over on this in 5 straight games: 53, 45, 42, 55, and 52 fantasy points in 5 straight games here. He's really rounding into form, twice against Miami already this season. We take a look at some other power forwards recently against the Miami Heat. We saw Randall and Markkanen both smash the over on this, 58 and 59. And those are 2 players I could say are pretty similar just as far as their offensive role and the amount of shot attempts they're going to get in an offense to Pascal Siakam. You can see here the odds as well. 35.5 is what he's listed on Sugar House and Bet Rivers. He's minus 121 on Caesars to go over 34.5. So just a little 5-point discrepancy between PRA and fantasy score. Obviously, we know Pascal can get those defensive stats here. And then also to power forwards, Miami over the last 15 giving up the most assists, or third most assists to the power forward position. But Pascal offensively kind of plays the 3, 4, and 5. Like him, OG Anunoby, him, OG Anunoby, and Scotty Barnes kind of just are a revolving door at the 2, 3, and 4. Like, honestly, offensively, even Pascal plays the 1 sometimes. And we've seen Miami get cooked by small forwards this season. Miami, over the last 15, giving up the 5th most fantasy points to the small forward position. So it's just a great spot for Pascal overall here. We can see here his fantasy points per minute, 1.24 fantasy points per minute over his last 5 games. So we know he's been playing extremely well. We know he's going to get a decent amount of minutes. Obviously, he's a workhorse, 37 projected minutes tonight. The volume will be there in a close game for Pascal. He's going to play a ton of minutes. We know Miami loves to play their starters. I like Pascal Siakam over 39.5 fantasy as the first play. And then the second play here is going to be one that as I was recording this video earlier, and this line bumped like as soon as I finished recording the video, which is just super tough and unfortunate here. But I'm going back and I'm playing this at the bump. This was at 21.5. I'm playing it at 22.5 still. I just think based on the projections and based on what I see Jaren Jackson doing tonight, I think he can still go over this, but it just goes to show you that these bumps are absolutely killer. He is over this in his last 5 games. You guys, 5 of his last 5 games, he's hit the over 24, 26, 27, 34, and 32. Has really been stepping up as of late. So we take a look at Jaren Jackson's first half Scam Fantasy Score game log this season versus Orlando. He faced Orlando back on January 5th, and I'm sure John Morant was in the lineup for this game. Yeah, John Morant was in the lineup. Steven Adams in the lineup, where Jaren Jackson Jr.'s usage has actually gone up significantly with those two out, and John Morant has already been ruled out for this matchup here in Memphis. John Morant has been ruled out, so Jaren Jackson Jr. should have the insane usage that he's getting, but 38.9 fantasy points in that first half in 15 minutes versus Orlando already this season. He had 18, 7, 1, 1, and 3 blocks, 18 points and 7 rebounds in only 15 minutes. And that was really when he wasn't really in his stride. I think really since the All-Star break, since getting that confidence of becoming an All-Star, has really helped Jaren Jackson Jr. We take a look at his first half fantasy score hit rate. I mean, we're 25, 18, 24, 26, 27, 34, 32. I mean, he had some weak games here against Dallas. Not really sure what happened here. He played 13 minutes and 9 minutes here. But before that, had 24, 26 against the Lakers and Golden State in the first half. 22.6 here against Houston. I mean, we know the blocks and steals are going to be there. He had 7 blocks and steals in the first half against Atlanta last game. 4 blocks and steals in that previous game versus Houston here. We take a look at Orlando as well. Orlando, definitely liable to give up points to the power forward position. Over the last 15 games, Orlando giving up the 6th most fantasy points to the power forward position. If we take a look at blocks, Orlando 4th most blocks to the power forward position. We look at rebounds, the 6th most rebounds to the power forward position. And then also Orlando is in the top here. What is this, like 8th most points to the power forward position as well. We take a look at Jaren Jackson Jr.'s usage over the last, 30 days with John Morant off the floor. He's averaging 52.2 fantasy points, 1.4 fantasy points per minute. 1.4 fantasy points per minute, 52.2 fantasy points per minute per 36 minutes. We split that in half. It is well over 22.5 fantasy points for Jaren Jackson Jr. Obviously, in the NBA, over his last 5, leading the NBA 1.58 fantasy points per minute over his last 5 games, which is just insane. Fantasy points per minute monster. Is over minus 174 to go to over 2.5 blocks here tonight as well. Again, Orlando, they do like to attack the paint, so there should be a ton of opportunity here for Jaren Jackson Jr. to get some blocks. And then power forwards recently against Orlando, I mean, Zach Collins had 32, Giannis had 29, which is just light for him. Jeremy Grant had 24, Sochan had 22.5. I mean, this is a line that I think, just take a look at this line. This is like an easily attainable line that Sochan had, that Jaren Jackson Jr. can get us tonight. 13, 5, 1, and 1. And if we just take a look at Jaren Jackson Jr.'s like first half fantasy score game log this season, all we need is like 22.6 here. We can see here, like 22.6, 11, 3, and 3 blocks, 1 turnover in 15 minutes, right? He's been getting these minutes in the first half. If he stays out of foul trouble, he's going to play 16, 17, 18 minutes in the first half here. Love this spot here. Playing the bump. Jaren Jackson Jr. first half fantasy score. Pascal Siakam 39.5 fantasy score. Again, Taco Tuesday as well. Let me know in the comments below how you guys feel about these 2 plays. Drop a like, hit the subscribe button, and as always, let's cash.